The phrase, a broken clock can be right twice a day, is the exact expression to be used here. We have these big streaming giants like Disney, Amazon, Netflix, and HBO, these big corporations capable of producing an insane amount of garbage that we consume on a regular basis. However, as the phrase suggests, they may actually be able to produce a good thing from time to time. In today's video, we're going to be discussing a rather surprising hit from Amazon in the form of The Terminal List. This action thriller starring Chris Pratt, of all people, in the role of a Navy SEAL commander who is intent on uncovering the truth about what happened to him and the rest of his team following a mission. So, that's the general synopsis of the show, and it almost gives you a feeling of, well, it sounds like your stereotypical, military-esque show. But I'm going to be talking about, honestly, why you should be giving it a shot, right? So that leads to the big question. What are my thoughts on the show, right? The honest truth is, the Terminal List has no right to be this damn good. It is fantastic. We live in a time where mediocrity is the norm, and companies seem more okay than ever with releasing god awful shows and movies on a regular basis. Films like Top Gun Maverick being the rare occurrence. So, you might ask, what are my reasons for believing The Terminal List to be a good show and why it's worth your time? We're going to be starting with the performances. They're excellent across the board from everybody involved. The biggest surprise in my mind has to be Chris Pratt. There were times where I had to remember this is the guy who plays Peter Quill from the Guardians of the Galaxy or the lackluster trainer character from the recent Jurassic World films. I think this, honestly, the Terminal List is this man's best performance by a considerable mile, right? Especially given the role he had to play as this, grizzled, special forces operator, who experienced a really traumatizing event in the show, you know. But here's the thing. He was far from alone. We have Taylor Kish, who plays a big role in the show, and the thing is, the last time I saw this guy on screen was the awful Battleship movie. So that must give you a reference for when was the last time I saw that guy on screen, right? Also, you got to give some credit to the female characters played by Constance Wu and Jean Triplehorn. Both of them played their roles very well, and you can see this picture I'm painting with the performances throughout. Everybody played their roles, excellently, right? You know, so when it comes to that, you might go, well, what is there more to the show? Excellent performances, that might get a lot of people interested. But another big part of the show is the tightly woven plot. While I won't get into too much detail, as there are definitely some twists and turns throughout that I would prefer, for you to find out for yourself, I will say it isn't anything too groundbreaking. We follow the story of a man named James Reese, a Navy SEAL commander trying to find answers in the aftermath of a botched raid in Syria. It soon spirals into a hunt for those responsible for what happened to him and his men. You get things like shadowy figures in the government, defense contractors looking to make a quick buck, and ideas that are tropes in today's media. The thing is, tropes can be written well if you know what you're doing. So I do have to tip my hat off to not only the author of the book, but to a lesser degree, the writers of the show, as they didn't butcher the majority of the story from the books, as a lot of fans on the internet have said. While there were definitely some things they said removed from the book, they still kept most of what was integral to the plot. They made some changes, as most adaptations do these days, but they stuck to the core elements of it. But beyond the shadowy government conspiracies and the many excellent performances by the actors involved, I have to say the action scenes is what really impressed me. There are numerous action scenes throughout the entire season from beginning to end. You have the firefight between a team of Navy SEALs and enemy forces in the first episode. There are moments of real tension throughout as the show leaves you wondering, what's going to happen next? Sure, some of it can be predictable in terms of the outcome, but I do have to say, it's overshadowed by the quality and the genuine effort put in by those involved. Plus, the show doesn't hold back in the brutality department, as I didn't think Chris Pratt would ever be involved with a scene where his character tortures someone to death for the sake of revenge, right? We know Chris Pratt as this fun guy who's, you know, played the role of Peter Quill, you know, a kind of a jokey character, a character with humor, with light, and morally a good person. Well, his character in the Terminal List makes you ask questions, and it honestly is a testament to his performance and you know, just the way things were set up. So when you take great performances, combine it with a well done story, and throw in quality action scenes throughout, all of this, you know, sums up the reason as to why the Terminal List is such a damn good show. The kind of show you might be willing to throw away your sleep schedule for because you want to know what happens in the next episode. The moments when these episodes end, you want to click the button that says play the next episode, you know? And while I am talking about the show in such a glowing light, are there any genuine problems with the show that will break your immersion or will, you know, maybe take you out of the story entirely? There aren't any major problems with the show. There's no real big plot holes. There's no real, you know, performance issues from any of the actors involved. There's nothing that's going to tell you this is a giant red flag or this is a giant, you know, part of the show that needs to be fixed. You know, but there are there's a few minor things here and there that you can point to, right? One of the things being the plot isn't anything too special. So you might be able to pick up on a few things that are happening in the background or the dialogue of some of the characters, and you might be able to figure out what's going on, you know? And as I said, I gave a glowing review of the acting and the performances, you know. The one thing I will say is in the first episode or about the first episode, it was a bit stiff. I think Chris Pratt was a bit stiff as he was probably adjusting to the role that he was playing, you know, and maybe there were some eye rolling moments. But, as I said, those are more nitpicks than any genuine problems that are flaws with the show. So that leads me to my big question. Do I recommend this to people? The action, the story, and the performances make this show stand out in a lot of ways from what we get regularly these days. You know, if you're interested in seeing a government conspiracy plot, if you're interested in seeing, you know, Chris Pratt giving his best performance of his career most likely, or, you know, seeing quality action scenes with, you know, that are very much, it's, you know, I will say this much. Amazon has a very spotty record when it comes to, you know, when it comes to their action scenes and the kind of the almost Jekyll and Hyde of like they can be good in some shows and awful in others. In this situation, it's really damn good, and I might say it's better than a lot of stuff they put out, right? So all this makes the show stand out in its popularity and you know, the reception overall, right? I'm not going to comment too much on the Rotten Tomato score from the critics, mostly because I have my own personal reasons as to why they viewed the show in such a manner, but I won't get into that too much. So, if you're interested in any of the things that I mentioned, I would say go ahead and watch this show. You will not be disappointed. I will guarantee it, as Charles Barkley likes to say. But that more or less wraps up my thoughts on the show. You know, I could go on talking for hours and hours about it, but some of you guys, you know, want it quick and dirty, and I can respect that, right? As I said, spoke for the past couple minutes, gave you my thoughts, and I think we're gonna be shutting it down, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys like, favorite, you know, leave a comment, whatever the case may be, you know. And hopefully I will be seeing you guys next time.